We spoke the other day about how big Netflix is getting, and it really is getting bigger and bigger every single fiscal quarter. It's twice the size of Disney now if you look at the market capitalization, but it doesn't have any of Disney's extra departments outside of streaming. It doesn't have theme parks. It doesn't have hotels. It doesn't have massive live sports media networks through linear broadcast and billions of dollars a year of revenue coming in from those advertising dollars. No, it's just streaming. But there's other ways that Netflix could continue to expand over time. We talked about some of those the other day. I'm going to go through some of those here again. Renegade Online. But we got somebody else might have to weigh in on that. Hey, Pro.
Hey, the last thing I think they need to be true contenders with Disney, they don't need theme parks. They don't need some of the merchandise, but they need the IP power. They need the franchise power to get their retail going in the same way as Disney. So you might think Disney, when they launch a show, when they launch a brand, they're launching an ecosystem. So like Moana. Right. Moana's going to come out with.
Are you
toys
talking about
and
the
clothes.
Netflix stores? Because I was going to bring that up too.
Yes, that's the next step for Netflix. If you're looking for the growth, investors should be hoping, and I think Netflix may be planning to branch out into being the beginning point, the launching point for ecosystems around their franchises. Mm-hmm. If they have another Stranger Things in the future, then they need to have a full-blown merchandising push to go along with it.
Yeah, and I think they will. And part of what was discussed on the earnings call earlier this week, there were a lot of questions about would Netflix continue to expand, seek other partnerships? Would they make basically a portal on Netflix itself to where you could also sign up for things like, they didn't name specifics, but we all knew what the question was being asked about. Would you make a portal like on Amazon Prime, where if you're a Prime Video subscriber, you can also sign up through Amazon for Max, for Disney Plus, for Paramount, for Peacock, and all this? And the answer from Greg and Ted were about as what you would expect. And this is why I like these guys. They're like, look, it's kind of a nothing's off the table thing, but we're focused on building out what we have now because we have a really successful model. And once we, clear hurdle number one, we may look down the future. I even had somebody in the chat that day when we were covering the earnings call asking about, would Netflix ever possibly consider bringing in a cable television type model, a la YouTube TV, a la Hulu? And I said, I think it's possible. I don't think they're necessarily anywhere near that right now because they have a model that works for them. And Netflix, to me, would be the last people that would want to get into a cable TV system model because I don't think they want to have to deal with having to fiddle around with other people like Comcast and Disney and everybody else. But it's certainly something that could potentially be on the horizon if they reach a point where they feel like they can make it work for them. And God forbid, if they ever got into that market, well, that's the end of cable right there, as if Netflix actually jumps in and does that.
And the reason you might look for Netflix to do some of these things is because Netflix has just about reached the point of full saturation in streaming. There's really not much more growth, at least domestically, they can do. They're dominating everybody outside of YouTube, and you're never going to catch YouTube.
And they don't look at YouTube necessarily as a competitor because it's a completely different model, obviously.
Right, totally. And I agree.
User-generated content. But, I mean, what Netflix is looking to do is to increase their market share of consumption. So,
but I'll say this: if you said, "Hey, Pro, you get to be the CEO of YouTube or Netflix," I'd pick YouTube. Even I know they're not apples; it's apples to oranges. But I'd take YouTube in a heartbeat because of the. I
don't have to produce content on YouTube. I just sit there and let everybody else do it. Oh yeah,
free money come pouring in. Yeah,
absolutely. But I mean, you look here, and I was bringing this up before I was going to get to this. The latest streaming chart, and again, you just look to see how big and bad Netflix dominates everything. And of course, Disney's not even on there. Hulu's not even on there. What's amazing is Tulsa King is on there.
Twice.
Well, yeah, for season 1 and 2. And it goes to prove, I mean, Netflix has some hugely dominating shows, but Tulsa King is one of these shows that is actually growing rapidly in
Guys,
season 2. With
guys, you're going to have to help me out. I'm squinting to see this. None of these, though, even though blurry, none of them look like Agatha to me. I must be mistaken.
It's not there. No, Agatha's totally gone.
Oh.
No. But when we talk about the dominance of Netflix, I'm going to bring this one up first. We talk about the dominance of Netflix, and I should have this one. Well, I guess maybe it didn't move.
Yeah, because that's about the only thing going for any of the streaming services right now is you've got Paramount Plus that has Taylor Sheridan shows.
Right.
And you've got HBO Max where they finally got smart and decided all these shows should be both HBO and Max, not just one or the other.
Right. Well, but you look at this. This is the all-time list, right? And Netflix has been they've been doing more and more updates. We got there what we watched the first half of 2024. That list came out a few weeks ago. But you look here, the most popular English TV, right? Native English language television. Wednesday, 252 million global views. That's somebody that watched from the first episode to the end of the last episode. 252 million. Stranger Things, Buried by Wednesday, 140 million views, which is still staggering, but 100 million plus shy of Wednesday. The Jeffrey Dahmer story, Bridgerton. You add up season 1, 2, and 3 of Bridgerton, it's absolutely incredible. Hundreds of millions of views. Disney has nothing like this. There's nothing like this, and there's nothing like this anywhere else. Amazon Prime. Rings of Power wishes it could compete with Bridgerton season 2. Rings of Power probably wishes it could compete with the 50th or 100th most watched Netflix something of all time.
And that's kind of what I've been saying for a while too, is none of these shows are coming even remotely close, like you just said. Like even where like Penguin, when they're boasting about it's a success for Max, but it's like in the grand scheme of things though,
yeah,
it's not a patch on what these shows are doing or what regular cable shows like. Because people get pissy with me because like I'm not saying anything against the show. I'm just saying at the amount of views that it's getting, it would have gotten canceled if it was on a network.
Right. And that's just it. It's just amazing to see how far this goes. Now, back to the Netflix issue here before I get too far off the bat. This is what I wanted to bring up. Remember I told you Disney's earnings per share last quarter is about $1.43. And the price to earnings was pretty much in line with Disney. Netflix doesn't have as many outstanding shares, granted, but $5.40 on, $700 a share versus $1.43 on $90 a share. So this is the kind of thing. Netflix is incredibly dominant. People are very excited about this. And it's not going away anytime soon. And they're going to keep growing. They're going to keep adding more sports. They're going to keep becoming more of a threat to Disney and others. And then when I look here at stuff like this, by the way, we got the first kind of, again, confirmation. I want to bring this up. Confirmation from
While you're pulling that up, Valiant, I'll say this. Netflix has shown tremendous versatility from its founding. I mean, this was a company that was based on the idea of mailing out discs and games, and then you mailed them back. And they've modified their business model now such that they're solely streaming. But you also think about Netflix was embroiled in controversy not so long ago, and we won't even say the name of the movie that they were throwing their support behind and refused to learn their lesson right away. But by golly, after the smoke had settled, Netflix did what Disney didn't. And that is Netflix decided, hey, we're not going to touch that kind of divisiveness again. We're not going to get into issues that make people feel squeamish about kiddos. Right. And rightfully so, by the way. And Netflix changed a 180 there, and they've stayed out of that. Disney didn't. And just look at the difference that it makes for a company.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.